Filmmaking legend Stanley Kubrick was one of the most iconic directors of all time, with likes of The Shining, 2001: Space Odyssey, Full Metal Jacket, and many others. His very last movie in 1999 was one of his more unique films, Eyes Wide Shut. If you have not seen a movie, it is based around a doctor, Bill, who has a child with his wife. Bill, through an old colleague, hears about a secret party. Bill's colleague describes the party as,
Bill, I have seen one or two things in my life, but never anything like this.
and Bill decides to crash it. Using the password Fidelio, during this party, Bill sees a group of druids wearing masks and cloaks while performing a strange ritual. After this ritual, these are the scenes that took place during the party. I should warn you that these scenes are very explicit. I know what you're thinking, this party looks great, and how do I get invited to one of these? Well, these Eyes Wide Shut parties were mostly a rumor once this movie was released at the time. We don't know for sure what really happens in these secret societies, however, we do know they exist. The earliest known secret society was Pythagorean Brotherhood, 6th century BC. The Pythagorean Brotherhood was a secretive and intellectual group that emerged from the 6th century BCE and was associated with the Greek mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras. Pythagoras founded a school in the city of Croton in Magna Graecia, southern Italy, where he taught a wide range of subjects including mathematics, philosophy, and music. Like every secret society, the Pythagorean Brotherhood members took an oath to secrecy about the teachings. Although the main premise of the society was to learn about the deeper knowledge of mathematics, there were other rules and rituals that the members had to follow. They had to be vegetarian, they couldn't drink wine, and had participated in religious ceremonies. Although many societies came after Pythagorean Brotherhood, Eleusinian Mysteries, Dionysus, Isis, etc., secret societies didn't become a common thing until the Enlightenment period. Secret societies are a goldmine for conspiracy theories, like they are secretly running the world and implementing the New World Order. When you hear this conspiracy theory, the first thing that comes to your mind is the Illuminati. The Illuminati, or the Illuminated Ones, or the Bavarian Illuminati, is probably the most popular secret society, especially when it comes to conspiracy theories. The group began in Bavaria by Professor of Philosophy Adam Weishaupt, and like many secret societies, members had secret names that they referred to themselves as. Weishaupt chose the name Spartacus, a slave who rebelled against the Roman Empire. Obviously, Weishaupt thought highly of himself and viewed himself somewhat as a liberator. The Illuminati aimed to promote Enlightenment ideals, including reason, secularism, and the separation of church and state. They advocated for the spread of knowledge and the rejection of superstition. But were they really that powerful? Well, no. The Illuminati were great recruiters, but they never expanded outside of Bavaria, and eventually secret societies were banned in Bavaria in 1785, which resulted in the disbanding of the society. But was there another secret society that actually may have played a factor in the world-changing events? For the record, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I am open-minded to possibilities. However, falling down this particular rabbit hole can be a test to see if you're a conspiracy theorist or just a flat-out moron. So for this video, let's get really open-minded to the point of stupidity. The Freemasonry, also known as Masonry, which emerged in the late 14th century to oversee the qualifications of stonemasons and regulate their interactions with authorities and clients. The Freemasonry eventually dispersed into lodges, which were units of Freemasonry where rituals, ceremonies, and discussions took place. Think of Freemasonry as a tree and the lodges its branches. Members are encouraged to embrace a belief in a supreme being, often referred to as a grand architect of the universe, within the context of Freemasonry. These lodges expanded all across the world, most prevalent in Western Europe. As a matter of fact, Adam Weishaupt was a Freemason before starting his own society, the Illuminati. The Illuminati actually gained traction by recruiting, and one of the ways they did this was to infiltrate the Freemason lodges. They did this by recruiting Freemasons, and rather than have them leave, Weishaupt had the members remain in the lodges to gather information and secrets about the Freemasons to implement in their own society. So the Illuminati was just basically a Freemason lodge with a name. As a matter of fact, the all-seeing eye that is associated with the Illuminati actually was taken from the Freemason Society. All in all, it is safe to say that as a powerful establishment, the Illuminati wasn't a drop in the bucket compared to the Freemasons. So what was the point of the Freemasons? Well, the Freemasons were believers in the separation of church and state. They were believers of individual freedom and that the government or any power should not rule over the individual. Freemasonry emphasized equality amongst its members, fostering a sense of brotherhood regardless of social status. They were anti-monarchy and anti-feudalism, which was the current state of the world. What changed it? The biggest changes to the world of government, which ended the monarchy, feudalism, and birthed the idea of liberating the individual, were two events, the French and American Revolution. The French Revolution resulted in the collapse of feudalism and the monarchy, the redistribution of land, and the removal of privileges based on birth. This new democratic society of equal and liberty inspired movements and reforms across Europe. The American Revolution resulted in the first government that was for the people, by the people, and emphasized that every man, woman, and child are created equal in the eyes of God. The success of the revolution inspired the French Revolution a few years later. So what's my point? Well, it is interesting to note that the leaders of both revolutions were Freemasons. American Revolution. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, Paul Revere, 13 out of the 39 people who created the Declaration of Independence were in fact Freemasons. French Revolution. Maximilien Robespierre, Georges Danton, Jean-Paul Marat, Marquis de Lafayette, who played a role in both French and American Revolution. France actually had the most Freemason lodges in the world. Many historians speculate whether the French backed the Americans during the American Revolution because of the Freemason connection between the two countries, but perhaps that is hearsay. Now, this may be a coincidence, or perhaps irrelevant. Some can make the argument that it's like saying Christians play a role in world events because most US presidents are Christian, and that is a solid argument. However, I don't recall going to church and having discussions of invading Middle Eastern countries or overthrowing foreign government. My point is, it is a big coincidence that the world's biggest secret society that preaches anti-feudalism, anti-monarchy, and pro-liberation of the individual then has multiple of its members lead two of the most impactful revolutions in history that destroyed the monarchy, feudalism, and formed a government that encouraged and protected the liberation, freedom of the individual. Oh, and to bring it back real quick, if you're curious as to why the world thinks the Illuminati runs everything, you can thank Augustin Barreau and John Robinson, as they both wrote books that suggested that the Illuminati not only survived, but ignited world events such as the French Revolution. Memoirs illustrating the history of Jacobinism was written by Barreau, and Proofs of Conspiracy was written by Robinson sometime between 1797 and 1798. They proposed that the Illuminati infiltrated the Freemasons to spark the French Revolution, despite the Illuminati never expanding outside Bavaria, let alone Germany. These two books became very popular and spread to the United States. Other notable Freemasons: Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Voltaire, Winston Churchill, Buzz Aldrin, Salvador Allende, Johannes Brahms, Harry S. Truman, J. Edgar Hoover, Simon Bolivar, Mark Twain, Oscar Wilde, Aleister Crowley, Arnold Palmer, Truman Capote, John Glenn, and many, many more. It is also worth noting that the English Revolution that brought down the English monarchy for a short time in 1651 was led by Oliver Cromwell, who is, you guessed it, a Freemason. Although the monarchy was restored, many believe that the civil war that took place was a spark that shifted England from a feudalist state to a capitalist one. Throughout my research, I found a historical quote about the Freemasons. The quote goes, "They reconstituted the polity and established a constitutional form of self-government, complete with constitutions and laws and elections and representatives. In other words, the micro-society set up within the lodges constituted a normative model for society as a whole." From reading this information, perhaps the Freemasons or Masonry played a bigger factor in history than we had thought before. Now, before the three people that are watching this video have lost all respect for this channel, let's take off our tinfoil hats for the moment and get back on track to legitimate historical facts about secret societies. William Hunting Russell was an American studying abroad in Germany in 1831 to 1832, when he became friends with an unknown man who was the leader of a secret society. Although no one knows for sure what this society was, many claim this is a branch of the Freemasons, but no one really knows for sure. William Hunting Russell took inspiration from the secret society to create his own once he returned to university in America. This university was Yale, and his society was the Skull and Bones. The Skull and Bones, like the Freemasons, have some pretty notable alumni such as George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., and John Kerry. And unlike previous societies that are mentioned, we actually have somewhat of an idea of the rituals and ceremonies. The Skull and Bones had a trust fund set up that former members would contribute to once they start making money after graduating to keep the society alive. The Skull and Bones would eventually use some of this money to invest in a building on campus dedicated exclusively to the Skull and Bones called the Tomb. In 1977, journalist and former Yale alumni Ron Rosenbaum did research on the Skull and Bones, and through his sources was told that the initiate was carried to the tomb in a coffin while chanting the words "Reborn." Other sources recount incidents where they were led into the tomb and beaten by members with human skeletons and then wrestled in a pile of mud. Some have even said that former Bonesmen watched this display. The movie The Good Shepherd starring Matt Damon showcases the same scene. Although most of these rituals are initiation, in the members' final year they have to share a deep confession within the group. This is to set a stage for a new member to share an explicit sexual experience of their own. Some even say they do this while masturbating in a coffin. This could be a reason why members keep the oath of secrecy of the group. Perhaps these confessions could be used for blackmail similar to the techniques of Scientology. Now, these are all allegations that were reported to Rosenbaum by former members of the Skull and Bones, so there is no real actual proof. However, in 2001, Rosenbaum learned that he could see directly into the tomb's courtyard from the rooftop. Rosenbaum took advantage of this and recorded one of the ceremonies. Here is a scene from the video.
It was indoors, so we only got to see the outdoor part.
Right.
We only got to, and to listen to the outdoor part. God only knows what went on indoors.
And what did you hear? What was it you know? You managed to get this unique
It was
access to it.
disgusting. It was gross. I mean, they were pretending to murder people. And
What was the tone of it, though? Was it jokey or was it
vicious.
quite...
No, it wasn't jokey at all. It was sick. It's about the only thing to describe it. It was sick.
What you're hearing is the first recording ever made of the Skull and Bones initiation ceremony. It has never been broadcast before. 15 new members of the club are being introduced into the macabre rituals of Skull and Bones by the senior students who are about to graduate. The club has what some might see as a strange fascination with death, skulls and bones. There's the chants too, difficult to hear first of all, but including the devil equals death and death equals death.
From this video, you can see that it is a little weird. Apparently from the full video, members were verbally and physically abused while being forced to kiss a skull. Mock sacrifices also took place. Even though there wasn't any masturbating going on, this did confirm that the society are really into strange rituals and their obsession with death. This wasn't the only time a secret society was being secretly recorded. The same year Rosenbaum recorded the rituals of the Skull and Bones, the infamous Alex Jones recorded the rituals of Bohemian Grove. Now, no matter what you think of Alex Jones, no one can deny this video of the evidence of Bohemian Grove. If you think this video is fake, here is an argument he had with David Gergen, advisor for Reagan, Nixon, Ford, and Clinton.
Great owl of Bohemia, we thank thee for thy adjuration.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But it's a lot of big public officials going in there. Don't we deserve to know?
You took I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that.
Really? But we have public officials.
I'm sorry. You took an understanding when you went in there that you would not do that film. And did you have an understanding when you went in there?
No.
Did you crash it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it has no trespassing signs there too, doesn't it?
No, they put them up after.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just walked in.
I'm sorry, sir. I've been there before. I know what the circumstances are, and I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual genuinely?
sir. Everything I don't owe you this comment.
I know, I appreciate it.
This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank
Have you
you
ever
and
been
goodbye.
in the ritual?
That's none of your damn business.
Oh,
That's right. Listen. You go around and make understandings with people and violate them. You ambush people on the streets, and that's inappropriate form of journalism. If you wish to practice that, that's fine, but don't ask others to respect you for it. If you want to, you can do. You're a free American, like anything you want. If you want to be uncivil and rude and ungentlemanly, that's up to you. But don't expect the rest of us to say, "Oh well, you're
there,
one."
Mr. Gergen.
I'm sorry, nobody sets policy in there. We try to be gentlemen, and obviously, you don't belong there.
Weaving spiders come out here.
For those who don't know, Bohemian Grove is a secret club for the most influential people in the world, and like most, if not all, secret societies, they're fraternal, which means no girls allowed. These members are ones such as William Randolph Hearst, George H.W. Bush, Guy Loves the Party, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Theodore Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan, and Richard Nixon. It only makes sense that the most powerful and influential people in the world can join, since to get in, a potential member has to pay a hefty fee and a 15-year waiting period. Like the Skull and Bones, the members of the Bohemian Grove also perform mock sacrifices called the Cremation of Care, which is performed in front of their 40-foot owl god on the first night. I'd like to reiterate to my viewers, this is all in fact real. Now, in the beginning of the video, I questioned whether if Eyes Wide Shut parties do exist. We know similar ones do exist. Aleister Crowley, also a Freemason, was involved in the Ordo Templi Orientis, based on the Freemason, and Thelema, which are heavily involved in sexual practices or so-called sex magic. The Temple of Set was a satanic group that worshipped Satan through Egyptian god Set. However, the most Eyes Wide Shut party was probably the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was a secret society in 18th century, as well as the other many secret societies during the Enlightenment era. Rumors spread that the members of the club were persons of quality, and most people involved in politics. Unlike most secret societies, it wasn't fraternal, as members would engage in sexual activities, after performing pagan rituals or wearing robes and masks. Oftentimes, the group would display a sort of mockery of religion, sometimes dressed as a priest or nuns, performing mock Christian ceremonies, and even go as far as referring to themselves as devils and perform devil worshipping. However, according to the members, as stated before, this was only in a non-serious, joking way. Many speculate if the movie Eyes Wide Shut was actually based off the Hellfire Club, as masked members in robe, performing rituals and participating in orgies showed strong resemblance to the Hellfire Club. Throughout my research for this topic, I came in with both an open and skeptical mind. I didn't want to be closed-minded to where I was ignoring every fact, but I didn't want to be open-minded to the point where I believed everything I read. However, I couldn't help but notice the involvement of influential and powerful people in these societies. Aside from Bohemian Grove and Hellfire, often these influential members were not known and haven't yet done the things that they are known for now when they joined. It makes sense that a club like the Freemasons would create a powerful person due to the fact that it was one of the few groups that shared ideas and discussed informative information that one couldn't get in any other place. However, I find it odd that these influential people would still participate in these odd activities even after their success. I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist when talking about these clubs, but I don't honestly believe anything too nefarious happens in these events. Although I do admit they are odd, and people in power have been involved in scary things in the past, like Epstein's Island or UN peacekeeper scandal. For those who don't know, in 2017 it was revealed that the UN peacekeepers ran a child sex ring in Haiti for almost 10 years. As early as 2004, underage sex slaves were being sold to members of the UN and NATO. Can't repeat enough how weird I think these clubs are, although Eyes Wide Shut doesn't sound too bad. However, based on my research, I do not think these secret societies or clubs play any role in controlling the world or our daily lives, although I speculate the Freemasons had a hand in shaping our society today. As of right now, they are just a charity organization, and most likely have no influence or control over today's events. We are more controlled by our own paranoia than anything else, and perhaps that is something we have to focus on first.